Good evening, ladies. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. What a pleasure it is to be here with all of you. And I would like to send a special shout out to some of my Abway sisters who participate in other chapters, Dr. Kim Johnson, Dr. Rosalind Batty, Dr. Lisa Brokenbrow, Dr. Cheryl Chapman, and Dr. Chastity Gaither. If I missed any one of you, I am very, very sorry. My name is Quan Evans. I am the staff assistant to the Office of Affirmative Action at Penn. We have a robust program for all of you this evening. I hope you are ready to digest some wonderful information that will be shared with you tonight. With that said, I want to introduce to you all Colleen Wynn, the chapter president.
Thank you, Quan. And good evening. I always like to start off with a quote, so why not tonight? Carla Harris, who was the vice chairman of Global Wealth Management, said, and I quote, "Be brave enough to live life creatively. The creative is a place where no one else has ever been. You must leave the city of your comfort and go into the wilderness of your intuition. And you can't get there by bus, only by hard work and risk, and by not quite knowing what you're doing. But what you'll discover will be wonderful, because what you'll discover will be yourself." End of quote. I love that. Because of my risk-taking, I can proudly say my name is Colleen Wynn, and I am the president of the Philadelphia chapter of the Association of Black Women in Higher Education, that's also called Abway. I became a member of this wonderful organization in 2008, and ever since we have endeavored to provide professional development and social activities that inspire, educate, challenge, and move us onto paths we may have never felt possible. It was also somewhere around that time that Abway Philadelphia adopted the butterfly as being symbolic of whom we saw ourselves as being. People who transform, emerge, become, and at the very moment we spread our wings, those wings expand so we can fly. A very conscious evolution. So on behalf of the Association of Black Women in Higher Education, Philadelphia chapter, I welcome you this evening to our quarterly professional development program, where we have two facilitators who are risk takers, trailblazers, and powerful women, each who understand that stressors associated with climbing the ladder in spaces that historically have denied us access. And before I turn the microphone or the spotlight over to the next person on our program, I would like to end with another quote. And this one is by Misty Copeland. "I wouldn't be here without all the Black women around me, my sisters. Put us together and we can do anything." And let me say again, put us together and we can do anything. And in Abway, we can. And thank you and enjoy the program tonight.
Thank you, Colleen. Now I would like to introduce Ms. Michelle Ray Dorman, who's going to tell us a way to support Abway.
Good evening, my sisters. I'm happy to have an opportunity to speak with you tonight. My name is Michelle Ray Dorman, and I have had the pleasure of being a part of Abway for my entire academic career. I have been so blessed to have been a part of such an amazing organization that works to lift as we climb. That is our motto. That is the spirit of everything that we have done and we continue to do. And I'm here tonight to share an opportunity of a way to support Abway in being an example of Lift as We Climb. I have started a new business, and Abway has been 100% supportive of that business. The business is the opportunity to be a cause entrepreneur. What is that, you say? A cause entrepreneur is a person who works to share a wine opportunity for anybody who loves wine, as I'm growing and learning in wine and learning to explore and teach about wine. I also work with One Hope Winery, and One Hope Winery was created for the purpose of distributing wine through causes. And they believe very much that it is important to change the world with every bottle that they sell. And so 10% of every bottle sold goes to causes nationally. And then they give organizations such as ours, the Association of Black Women in Higher Education, an opportunity to collect 10% for themselves. And so Abway and WOCAP, Women of Color at Penn, have come together as they started in December and are working through May 1st to present this opportunity to their membership to purchase wine. And as a part of that purchase, the 10% comes back to both of the organizations. And so I'm delighted to share that opportunity with you tonight. And if Darren will assist me, I will share the link. If he'll allow me to share my screen. Not sure, I can't share my screen, but I can also share the link in the chat.
Oh, that's Ruji. I think Ruji's sharing the screen right now.
You should be able to share it now.
Somebody's sharing the pictures already, whoever's showing the background.
Okay, so I just shared the link in the screen, in the chat, so you have the link. If you are interested in having a good time, having a taste of wine, and at the same time supporting, okay, it's allowing me to share a link now, and at the same time supporting Abway and WOCAP, all you need to do is go to that link, explore it, find something that you're interested in, purchase the wine. It is mailed directly to your home. You have to do nothing except purchase it. And then 10% of everything you purchase will go to the WOCAP and Abway organization that are working together to raise funds for their organizations. So hope that you'll enjoy it. Raise a glass to Abway. And I look forward to hearing any questions that you have. Feel free to check into that link and send it to me.
I have one question before you
Sure.
go off. What's the deadline for purchasing wine?
So this event is open through May 1st, 2022. And so you have down to May 1st. So for every celebration you're having, if you're thinking about wanting to have a Mother's Day celebration to store it up, whatever you like to do, think wine, think Abway, think love, and think about One Hope. Thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you, Michelle. And now we'll have introductions by Julian Abeles, the Philadelphia chapter secretary.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I will give you the introductions to our guests for tonight's professional development. The first guest that I will be introducing is Dr. Carla Thomas. Dr. Carla Thomas is president and founder of the Realize Leadership Group, LLC, a consultancy that specializes in diversity, equity, and inclusion services, and has worked with clients ranging from higher education to global Fortune 500 organizations in sectors that include higher education, technology, life sciences, financial services, retail, and wholesale consumer goods. She utilizes her consultative skills to address DEI through an organizational development lens. She centers her work by enabling DEI efforts to be woven into the business objectives and the very fabric of organizational behavior. Her expertise includes facilitation, research and design in leadership development, succession planning, executive coaching, talent acquisition, and many more. Dr. Thomas currently sits on the advisory boards of the University of Pennsylvania's Chief Learning Officer Doctorate Program, St. Joseph's University Organizational and Leadership Development Graduate Program, as well as the Academy of Natural Sciences. She is an active member of the NTL Institute for Applied Behavioral Sciences, Philadelphia Society of People and Strategy, the Society for Human Resource Management, the Organizational Development Network, and the Inclusion Allies Coalition. A graduate of Vanderbilt University and St. Joseph's University, Dr. Thomas completed her doctorate at the University of Pennsylvania in Leadership Development and Corporate Strategy. Her mixed methods research explores psychosocial factors that mitigate the negative effects of implicit bias in the workplace. As a scholar, practitioner, speaker, and keynote speaker, she is committed to improving dialogues across difference while pushing the boundaries of practical approaches that create inclusive environments.
Thank you, Julian. I'm really excited to be here and looking forward to the conversation that we all get to have with one another.
Awesome. The next speaker that I'm introducing is Dr. Tanya O'Neill. Dr. Tanya O'Neill is a diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging crusader. She uses her expertise as a strategist, consultant, public speaker, facilitator, and coach to help leaders, teams, organizations, and individual contributors develop the skills and work environments that positively impact people, performance, and productivity. Her diverse academic credentials include a degree in nursing, human services, and psychology. She also holds multiple professional certifications that include MBTI, Crucial Conversations, Emotional Intelligence Learning System, and Diversity Practitioner. Alongside her background in leadership development and DEIB, she is a military veteran, having served in the United States Air Force. Dr. O'Neill combines logic and her research on emotional intelligence to help others see the positive business impact that comes through embracing diversity and championing emotional intelligence as a means of driving inclusion. She is a native Philadelphian who enjoys helping individuals and teams cultivate their own unique inner brilliance and develop that competitive edge.
Thank you so much for that. I'm excited about our discussion as well. And I just have to say, listening to my colleague, Dr. Carla bio, it just struck me as, oh yes, that is why I left Penn to work for her. Yes.
Well, there's any number of reasons why I work with you, Tanya, so I'm looking forward to continuing that.
Thank you very much. Now we will have our presentation by our facilitators, Dr. Tanya O'Neill, Senior DEI Consultant, and Dr. Carla Thomas, President, Realize Leadership Group. Take it away, ladies.
Thank you, thank you. So again, we both are extremely excited to be here and especially to have this conversation. So I just want to give a heartfelt thank you to Pam and Colleen for inviting us to be a part of tonight's discussion. And that's really what we want here, is we want it to be a discussion about the strong, and you'll note that that is in quotes, the strong Black woman and burnout. And so what we're going to do, and we really could spend an entire day. So, you know, we're dipping our toe in the water, and this is our journey for this evening, where we'll quickly go through our guidelines for engagement of how we will engage with each other this evening. And then we're going to talk about some examples and pitfalls of that strong Black woman. And then we're gonna do some breakout sessions so you get to know each other and talk to each other a little bit. And so you're gonna talk about your first time. And before you go there, it's not that first time. It is the first time that you can recall that you felt that you were expected to be strong, And we'll ask some other questions like, who are you showing up for? Is for the people in your life, family, friends, coworkers, acquaintances, and are you continuing that myth of the strong Black woman? And so from there, we will go to recognizing, redefining, and realizing, right? So doing some self-care on ourselves. And actually, by you all being here this evening, you are engaging in self-care. And we'll walk away, hopefully, with some awareness and maybe some tidbits of some actions to move towards. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hit our guidelines for engagement. So a couple of things, you've probably seen or heard these in different ways before. And so it may just be a reminder to you that this is how we will engage with each other this evening. We all know the cliche advertisement around Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And what I'm going to ask you to do is leave people's business here, but take learning with you and share it. Reserve judgment. I'm not only talking about reserving judgment for yourself, for others, but I want you to kind of ground yourself right now. Shut it down, the negative chatter that's playing, those negative tapes that are playing in the back of your mind right now. And so reserve judgment also on yourself. And start that process right now for self-care by practicing these guidelines for engagement. Speak your truth. It's your truth. And be present. I know that we have a lot of competing things that are going on in our lives, and we have these lovely things right next to us, which I'm getting ready to turn mine off. And so just try for a little bit of time. This is self-care, where if you can carve out about 30 minutes to an hour of time for yourself, because you're worth it. And the other thing I'm going to invite you all to do is I'm going to say, rest your mask, sis. Because, we're all walking around with these masks on. We put them on to go into our spaces of where we work, or when we turn on this computer, or we dial into a call and so forth. And we even wear them with each other. And so I am going to ask you to consider this a space where you don't have to do that. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into talking about This Struggle is Real. And I listed these, and there's so many more that could be listed here, but these are just some of the things that we experience as Black women, especially in the workplace. And so I want to encourage you, take a look at the list there and then fill in the blank. And whatever you come up with filling in the blank, go ahead and throw it in the chat. I forgot to tell you, we really like participation and collaboration here. So you're going to get a chance to do a lot of that.
And while you're doing that, I want to spend a little bit of time just examining what it means to have to exist in invisibility as a Black woman and hypervisibility. That seems like a conundrum, like that doesn't make any sense, but I'm sure each of us can point to a moment in a meeting where we said something and it was like we were just completely and utterly ignored until someone else said it. It was not a valid idea. It was not a valid thought until someone else reinforced it. There's an invisibility in that. Or if we're treated as a colleague and a shared colleague at that, but aspects of our identity are expected to be ignored. We are meant to not speak about how it feels to exist in the world in our skin, in our gender, and we're supposed to smile and act as though everything's fine. Well, at the same time, everyone's watching to see us slip. That's what we mean when we say hypervisibility. Everyone is paying attention to the steps that we take, particularly in higher education where there are long memories, but also the further we climb in terms of the roles that we take on and the titles that we tend to achieve. It's exhausting. As someone said in the chat feature, it is very much exhausting.
Yes. Yeah. Wow, and I'm actually just taking a little bit of time just to look at everything that you all are sharing with us, you know, from undervalued to exhausting to, yeah. And the internal struggles among us, yes. Yes, underestimated, absolutely. So yes, please take a 30 seconds to go ahead and look at what has been shared in the chat. And what we wanted to do is also share some real life stories that we curated. And I'm going to ask for some volunteers actually, because as I said, I like to make sure that you all feel that you're a part of this and we're not just here as talking heads. And so I would love it if we could have someone who would volunteer to read out loud about Kelly.
I can do it.
Thank
Excellent,
you.
thank you.
Okay. Okay, I'll just do it. Hi, all right. From 2016 onward, burnout. Oh,
Sorry.
okay. No problem. From 2016 onward, burnout resulted in physical issues with my body. During that time, I fell into depression, became severely anemic, developed a heart murmur, which required me to wear a heart device, and underwent extensive surgery for it. I was in this space in my life where I felt like I was going backward. After the surgery, I threw myself into planning a work conference, which left me completely depleted. I had no energy to also run a company and fulfill all these obligations that I had signed up for. Right after that conference, I wanted nothing to do with work. I wanted nothing to do with anything. I just wanted to regain my breath. Woke up in the middle of the night with these extreme brain aches. It was like nothing that I've ever felt before. I was going back and forth to the doctor for weeks, trying to explain the pain I was feeling, but they were reducing it to just headaches. Months later, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis.
Thank you so much for reading that. There's just so much that I can unpack here, besides the fact that she was overworked and ignoring what the signals that her body was giving her. But we'll move on to the next one. And I'll need another volunteer for Brittany.
I can go.
Awesome.
Thank you. Brittany, 30, branded content strategist. When my manager took a vacation for close to 6 weeks, I had to oversee the entire marketing department by myself. Throughout this time, I was overloaded, disliking the work environment and searching for a job. Also in the middle of all that, I started a networking series because I just didn't feel passion for the work that I was doing. I wouldn't go to sleep until I worked on my dreams, but that was a lot on my body. I developed stress-related sleep paralysis. One day I was asleep and I had this sharp pain in my shoulder and it just wouldn't go away. So I went and got it checked out and the doctor said that I had rheumatoid arthritis, most likely from stress. I also gained 30 to 35 pounds and even started growing gray at the top of my head. Despite all the signals my body was sending me, I still feel like I needed to make side money in case I ended up unemployed. Continuing to work was my only option.
Wow. Thank you so much. And then last but not least, we have one more that I would like to have. One more. Oh, there she is, Brandy.
I can do it.
Thank you.
My name is Brandy, 24, research psychologist. A lot of things started to spiral in my personal life. Namely, my fiance and I broke up after being together for 8 years. I continued going to work for about 3 months and my work performance was dropping. My boss knew what was going on. We had multiple conversations, but it was getting to the point where I would wake up every morning hating my job. Sometimes I was working 10 to 11-hour days, having trouble focusing, and it all kept piling up. I just didn't know how to speak up for myself because I didn't even know where to start. The irony was I was a mental health professional and I was not mentally okay.
Thank you so much for that. And there is an irony in that we all know better. We all know better, but it doesn't necessarily manifest into us doing better. And one of the things about us as Black women is we are really good at hiding it, right? You know, we love to go around saying, girl, you know, Black don't crack. Well, it does crack. And actually, there are research studies out there that show that we are biologically aging faster than our white counterparts. They've actually been able to, the National Institute of Health has actually been able to do studies on the chromosomes, on our chromosomes, and found that we are 7.5 years biologically older than our counterparts as a result of excessive chronic stress, because we're so very good at hiding stress from the outside world, as well as even from our close inner circle. And so because of this, we're experiencing an accelerated biological aging. And I am really happy to be here to look at some ways of how we can stop this, at least slow it down. And so our first breakout session, we're going to have you in smaller groups. We're going to ask you to, of course, introduce yourselves to each other if you don't know each other. And what I want you to do is, again, go back to that question where I said we were going to talk about your first time. I want you to share your earliest memory. And if you don't have an early memory, maybe your most recent recall of being told that you have to be a strong Black woman. And maybe it was said directly to you, or maybe you received some indirect messages. Or maybe someone said, you're a strong Black woman. Like, I never hear people say you're a strong white woman. See why I ever hear that?
No.
So, right? So some things I want you to talk about in this time that we're going to give you in your small breakout groups is, who did that to you? How did it make you feel? Who are you passing that legacy on to? Who are you showing up for it and making them feel like they also have to be that, or that is the expectation? And how tired are you right now? So, you know, when I was looking at this, and I'll share that story when we come back from the breakout, and we're gonna give you, how about 12 minutes, Carla? What do you think? 12 minutes, and we'll check in with you.
To those who are still in the main room, I just want to check and see if anyone's having any technical difficulties.
Am I assigned to a room because somehow I don't see my name?
If you're listed as a co-host, then
Okay,
no.
you're not. Okay, that's what I want. That's what I thought. Okay.
But you should be able, if you remove that co-host status,
Mhm.
we would want you to have the same experience if you'd like to go into a room.
Okay, I can remove my co-host. Okay, let's see. And I could just put it back on.
Let me pull up the breakout rooms. At the moment, Colleen, you're not showing as an option for a participant to move.
I was trying to remove my co-host status, but for some reason. Oh, right, I'm the host. I can't, okay, I'll have to make you the host. Okay. Okay. I just made you the host.
Okay, so I'm gonna send you into a room.
Okay.
Wait a minute, Dr. Thomas, aren't you supposed to be in the room?
I'm about to go, so Tanya and myself, we get to hop to all the rooms.
Oh, good, good, good. Okay.
Once everyone was clear, technically, now I'm heading into a room.
I was just checking, making sure. I'm here though, so.
Welcome back to those who've already joined. We have another 20 or so seconds for all of the breakout rooms to come back.
Oh, I was
Is being recorded.
expecting to be in my breakout room.
Oh, welcome back. Welcome back. I apologize for cutting short some conversations. I know some folks were mid-sentence. It's just for the sake of time that we needed to come back to this main room. Let me also,
Yeah.
it's going to be important for you to, maintain these bonds. So the conversation doesn't have to stop here. If there are folks that you resonate with their story or you connect in any way, shape, or form, this is meant to be a convening space, but it doesn't have to be the only one. Let me also say this too. How about we all just take a collective breath? Because that was heavy. Just like take a minute to breathe in and breathe out. Shake limbs if necessary, however you choose to calm yourself, because I can understand that being a lot. Not only because other stories resonate with us, but it may trigger some things for ourselves about what our experience has been, or for some, it might be the first room where you've had an opportunity to say these things out loud. And so we want to honor that. And before we do a little bit more of a debrief, I'm reminded of this quote that I read somewhere. It was circulating on social media. So I apologize, I don't know who it's from. But they said something, they asked the question, is your love language really acts of service, or are you an oldest daughter? And that hit me somewhere in my left ventricle. It's like, oh, these concepts of what we take on, they are pervasive in so many other ways we show up. Mariel, the quote is your love language really acts of service, or are you just the oldest daughter? Or are we expected to be taking care of others? So I just want to pause and let that resonate for a minute and shift over to Tanya.
And I'm going to just add in there, I know this isn't part of the quote, or the only daughter. Are you the oldest daughter or the only daughter? I'm just, I'm just looking at as people are putting in the chat where they are, So as we move to the next slide, I want to say thank you. I had a chance to pop in to several of the rooms. And so I want to say thank you for letting me pop in, and thank you for being present for each other. And holding each other in this space. And so as we start to look at, because as we are unpacking some of what we've been carrying around and what we carry around, I also want us to think about, and I actually heard somebody say this in one of the rooms I was in, but I want us to think about what is going on with ourselves, with these images that we are projecting. And how do we start to shift the paradigm of what we're projecting or what's been projected on us? And that was really what the conversation was about, is to start thinking about these tapes that have started playing in your head about what's been projected on you. And Marita Goldman, actually, she has her latest book out where she actually talks about her own experience. And it's called The Strong Black Woman, How a Myth Endangers the Physical and Mental Health of Black Women. And don't worry, you don't have to try to capture that. I've actually sent a one-pager with references from all of the stuff that Dr. Carla and I curated for this time together. So that is on that one-pager. But one of the things that jumped out at me, and I actually heard someone say this in their room, about the fact that we never allow ourselves healthy expressions of pain and vulnerability. you know, because we're always projecting this image of being in control and having strength, right? In all of these different spaces of where we move. And I just would love to see hands raised. How many of us could actually identify with that we rarely or never allow ourselves that healthy expression of pain and vulnerability? And I'm going to raise my hand too. So thank you for all the hands. So for all of you who are thinking this, you know you are not alone. And it's so interesting, as I was talking with Dr. Carla and putting this together, and we were putting this together. And one of the reasons I also ask you to think about, who are you passing this on to? Because you are showing up as a role model for people. For whether you have young men and women who are your children or your nieces, your nephews, your little cousins, whoever, as well as, you know, the grown folks too, that you work with, you live with, you hang out with, you have to interact with, is that what kind of messages are you sending them that will reinforce this, that are reinforcing this? And I'll tell you again, a story that came to mind is I thought about, right? I thought about my daughter. So my daughter, she'll be 30 this year. And she won't mind me telling you, she is a cancer survivor. And one of the things I remember, someone shortly after she had finished her treatment, and someone said to her, she said, I knew that I would make it through. And someone asked her, how did you know you would make it through? And she said, because my mother always taught me there's no such thing as can't. And on the one hand, I felt very good about that, because it's like, that helped pull my child through. But on the other hand, I was like, ooh, where else might this be showing up for her? And so what I've been trying to do is, on purpose, make sure that it's okay, that she knows it's okay for her to have expressions of vulnerability and to say, I'm tired, I hurt, I feel like I can't go another mile. And so what I ask people to do here is to start to really recognize where we are, what's going on mentally, physically, emotionally with ourselves, right? Recognize when you're not taking care of yourself, when you need to say no to others, you need to say yes to yourself and what your needs are, to recognize that, and then begin to redefine what strong looks like when it's healthy. What does that look like when it's healthy for you, physically, emotionally, and realize that you're worth feeling and being well and not just playing well. So to think about that as well, right? Because we are phenomenal at looking well and being well. And I love this quote here. It says, we have to make sure that we aren't just being well, that we're being well and not just doing well, right? And doing well, I actually picked up a theme from the 3 young sisters. And that's the other thing that I noticed, is that to me, they were all young. Those 3 stories that we read about earlier this evening, they were all young. They were all under 40. And if you notice, there was this theme about, I got to work hard, I got to make it, I got to make sure that, I got my coins and, all my ducks are in a row and so forth, right? So we're really, really good at that. But we need to think about, what does it mean to actually be well? And I just want to actually, I'm going to take 30 seconds and just let that sit there and really think about that for yourself today, in this space right now. What does that mean for you to be well? Absolutely, that is very scary, yes. I'm just reading some. What does that mean for you to be well? Dr.
also
Carl, I'm
add-
quiet because I'm talking a lot.
I'd also add, so if you have to pause a second to really think about like, what are my needs? Don't be alarmed. I think just a short story. I can remember when I first switched careers. My first career, for those who don't know, I used to play basketball professionally. And so I had played basketball since I was 7 years old. It was, I mean, I'm tall, I'm 6'3", so there was always this assumption that that's what you do. So I did that. And it took me around the world. It was fantastic. But when I retired at 25, and I had to decide, so like, what time do I actually like waking up in the morning when I don't have to wake up for a practice? Like, what do I actually enjoy eating when I'm not having to pay attention to everything that I put into my body in order to produce and perform? What kind of music do I like when I don't have to hype up myself in like the locker room before a game? Like, oh no, I like gospel. Oh, this is awesome. I never gave myself that space to really find out what feeds me. In fact, I left my sport knowing that I had a purpose, but not quite sure what that purpose was going to look like.
Mhm.
And knowing that that was a part of my being well. Tanya could probably tell you more than once how living in my purpose now causes me to neglect myself in a way that Nurse Tanya is not at all pleased with. I'm just going to put that nicely.
Yeah.
She basically just told me to sit down somewhere, and I was like, okay, yes, ma'am. Okay.
And sometimes that's a gift. You know, I have a friend who tells me that you're doing too much, T. You need to go sit down. And I'm so grateful for that. Because, you know, I do, and that's good. I do. I am learning. I haven't gotten there yet, but I am learning to recognize for myself when I need to sit down. And real quickly, I think I have 2 minutes. I'm gonna tell a story. I'm trying to tell a story in 2 minutes where I had a big wake-up call. Well, I had quite a few wake-up calls, but this was a big wake-up call. So I had gone through a period of like a year in my life where it just felt like everything was just collapsing. At the time, I was married. My husband had suffered a traumatic brain injury, which it took them a year for them to even confirm that. And then as we were dealing with that, and he's never going to be able to work again, that's when my daughter, we got her diagnosis. The same day we got her diagnosis, I found out that I lost a nephew to a fatal car accident. Oh, and by the way, that was the week before Christmas of that year. And then as I thought we were about to turn the corner, several months down the road, I'm driving home from work and I pull up to my house and the firemen are running in and there's smoke coming out of my house. And so much more to that. But I mean, and literally like even today, as I tell that story, I'm like, how did all that happen? And I remember through it all that in the back of my mind, again, those tapes were playing. You gotta be strong for everybody. So you gotta take care of this one and you gotta take care of this one and you can't let them see you fall. Break down, because you got, you know, because if they see you break down, then the whole world's going to end. So as everybody else, you know, things came together eventually, and you know, a year later, the house got taken care of and everything and so forth. A year after all of that happened and things were starting to heal, my body started breaking down. See, because I had been walking around taking care of everybody else and forgot to take care of me. And I won't tell you the whole story, but it boiled down to my GYN saying, yeah, you were walking around, even now when she sees me, yeah, you were walking around with a tumor the size of a baby's head attached to your ovary. So I say this to say, when I look at this, this is real. And I want, if there's nothing else that you take away from today, than to start with those 3 R's of recognizing, redefining, realizing, recognize when you are not taking care of yourself, because it really can be a matter of life and death. redefine what strong looks like when it's healthy for you. And then realize that you are worth, we say all these cliches. I know I'm enough. I'm more than enough. I'm phenomenal, all these things, but do we really believe them? And are we doing a good enough job of replacing those things with those negative tapes that have been ingrained in us year after year after year? And so one of the things that I wanted to bring your attention to is we have a few suggestions here. This is from another book called Bossed Up, and it's actually by a young white lady, but I thought this was interesting because these are things that resonate with us, right? That martyrdom mindset. Think about how to self-advocate, right? There's a reason why we have that cliche of that strong Black woman, because a lot of times we think we don't have anybody else's shoulder that we can lay our head on or lean on. And there's this song that I love to hear. It says, sometimes you have to speak over yourself. So sometimes you have to advocate for yourself, lean on yourself, because this world wasn't made to set us up for success.
And I think that's a huge part of this to consider. Much of the storytelling that we're doing and the ways that we're describing this and the experiences that you each have shared with one another, sometimes, life just crouches in ways that are just unbelievably daunting. A lot of what you're seeing on this particular slide these are suggestions for things that you can do in the face of, wonderful news or terrible news. Here's how you can practice self-care. Mm-hmm. Some of it starts with self-awareness, absolutely. But it also starts with some tangible things that you can do. So to address that martyrdom mindset, what is your community of courage? What do you surround yourself with in terms of those that you can lean on and call up and just say, I'm not okay? I was not until very recently, the age that I am now, I recognized that I was doing that all the time for others. But could I really point to when I am down, the person or persons that I would call to make space for me to be unhealthy, to not be all right all the time? It was eye-opening also to see how big that community has become. So this is a constant endeavor. And then there is a piece to this that it is fortunate, it is a blessing, it can also be a curse. We are existing in this world at this time in the skin that we occupy. And as a result, we are going to be perceived as being aggressive. We are going to be perceived as being tone deaf, short, impatient, too assertive, boss, whatever you might want to call it. And now recognizing that those are the perceptions that other folks have doesn't mean you have to own it, but you do have to be able to appreciate how to step into that room anyway. I'm confronted with this issue. I'm being seen this way. And so what tactics are in my arsenal? What's at my disposal to be seen as assertive rather than aggressive? Mm-hmm. And sometimes that just takes a little bit more work.
Absolutely. So I think we have time. I wanted to do one more breakout session because I really want you to leave here having spoken something positive and make a declaration to one other person. And so we're going to do this if we can, I think we have an even number that we could do. Partners. Awesome. And this is so you're just going to be with one other person again. And I'm going to ask you to answer that question. What does healthy look like for me? That's the question that I want you to answer with each other.
This meeting is being recorded.
All right, we are slowly coming on back in the room.
Hi. Welcome back. Welcome back. I had the honor of being paired with someone during this conversation, and we were getting into it. So again, if you need to take a breath, go ahead, take a moment. Grab that glass of, I appreciate you, Quan. Grab that glass of wine.
I don't have wine yet, but I have some sparkling water with pineapple and watermelon in it.
Not to put you on the spot or anything. Do what you need to do.
That's true.
Okay, turn this back over to Tanya.
Yeah. So what I want to do, because I know we don't have much time left, and I want to leave a little bit of time in case, you know, someone wants to say something. And I know that there's going to be an official closing out of our session together. But what I wanted to say again is thank you, thank you, thank you. And what I'm not asking you to do a complete paradigm shift tonight and just redo your life tonight. What I'm asking you to do is think about that one small thing that you can do to start looking at how to make sure that I really am practicing wellness for myself, so that even though we know that this beautiful skin of ours, it's very durable, I don't want to age 7.5 years faster than my white cat. I really don't. I'm vain in that respect. You know, when I'm 75, I want to look like I'm 55. Okay. So, you know, whatever it is that's going to motivate you to really think about that. So 2 things, think about that. And then also think about how can we build community, help each other, and also how can we start to not pass this legacy on. Not pass this legacy on. Like I'm a couple of decades late, but I'm trying to pull back undo some of that, what I've done with my own, and not pass that legacy on. And so I'm just going to say thank you. I appreciate you all being here and being willing to be in this space and share your truths and also learn from each other. And then I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Carla.
I would echo everything that Dr. Tanya has said. The only other thing that I would add is if you're interested in more information, please feel free to reach out to us. Our website is on this page if anyone wants to learn more about what it is that we do and how we do it. And putting that aside, that shameless plug, I know it has to happen. I would like to open up the floor to everyone. So this is time for Q&A. This is time for discussion. This is time to share ideas, comments, what have you. So the remainder of the time we have is allotted to whatever you'd like to explore.
And you can unmute yourself if you need to at this time.
Yes.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thanks, Sharon.
So let's start off this way. How are folks feeling?
Exhausted that you start learning more about yourself and what you need to be mentally healthy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a lifetime's worth of work. It is. Motivated. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Well, when we
Yeah.
talked about having that community, that's what this type of group is meant to be to one another.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that, Dr. Carla Thomas, because I wanted to say that shamelessly. That's what Amway is about. It's a community of like-minded sisters, and you said it, and it's just a great space to be. So if you're not a member of Amway, think about joining us. We can all get healthy together, right? And have more sessions like this, because I actually know Tanya and Carla, we could talk about this, like you said, for hours. We just hitting the tip of the iceberg, because I can only talk for myself. I know I'm exhausted. I know that I'm not healthy the way that I should be, because I take care of everybody but myself. And it's things that you know on an intellectual level, but you don't practice on this personal level, because we operate a lot of time through emotions and not intellect a lot, especially when it comes to taking care of ourselves. So, just thank you for kind of putting us back on that road, but we're gonna need some nudging every day to stay on course.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna pick up where Colleen just left off. As we closed in the last breakout session, that's how we closed with how do we not have this be like a New Year's resolution. It's like, okay, how far into January do we go with that commitment? So how are we able to take this on and commit to doing something for ourselves on a daily basis? Like what is that something that you might not be doing that it could be something as basic as like, I think we will all raise our hand on how many of us are drinking the amount of water that we're supposed to drink in a day. Like something as basic as that, that we just make sure that we show up first for ourselves, and then to be able to pass that on so that you can be available to others. And with that said, I'd like to thank my daughter for jumping on and for Colleen sending it to me so that I could get her to come on, because this is the space where we get to let our hair down, be able to speak truthfully, and to, I think, have an opportunity to bring other people into the conversation, younger people who, if we can get them to learn and understand some things at much younger ages than we did, the triumph and the victories that they could have in front of them, that they not waste the time trying to learn like they can figure out ways to get off the treadmill, that took us so long to get off before we listened to somebody give us a tool that we could use, and never throw away a tool, because what is not working for you today may be the tool that needs to stay in your toolbox for you to use 7 years from now. So we never throw away a tool. You may retire it for a minute, but you never get rid of it.
So one of the things I want to comment on is the practicality of things that you can walk out of this room and do. And as much as I am like not the best when it comes to technology, I will say it's been helpful for me from just a behavioral science, like literally these are ways in which you can be prodded to do something differently over a sustained period of time. It can be great to have an accountability partner, but I know that I had accountability partners in the past, and we made our New Year's resolutions and we did our walls, and it was all sort of laid out, and then that didn't happen. And so on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment progression, I did put 2 apps that I would suggest taking advantage of. One is called a Joyster app. If you want to check it out, it's one that I've used over time. And in essence, it is an emotional diary. So if you can see my screen, it has dates of the week. And because I know I'm self-aware enough to know that I don't always pay attention to my emotions because I'm on to the next problem, I'm helping someone else, this nudges me to put in information about how, like, stop for a second. How are you feeling emotionally, physically, otherwise? What are the things that you've been doing up until now, like on this day? And then it provides you with data around trends. So it seems to be when you go to a particular meeting, you tend to come back feeling more stressed. Maybe there are ways that you can address that room differently or bow out of that meeting. Like it literally pinpoints insights for you. That's the Joyster app. The motivation app is also one that provides those sort of behavioral nudges. And in that case, it's affirmation. In whatever categories or areas that you need it, you get to select, and it learns from the choices that you make. But can you get throughout the day regular moments of affirmation? So you can pause and be reflective of that. There are so many other apps that I could point to. One just being mindfulness apps. I am a huge fan and proponent of them. Headspace is one, if you've ever heard of it. It allows you to practice a ton of different meditations that like literally just slow down time enough for you to notice what you're carrying. Yeah, Headspace is one word.
Okay.
Another one, the Calm app. You might have seen commercials for it. These are tools. Consider them tools for ways to pay attention to yourself, even when you forget to do so that there's something else to guide you in making it a priority.
Yeah. I literally have amazing on my bathroom mirror. So like literally every time I go into that bathroom and I look and there's my face and there's that word amazing. So I'm trying to like subconsciously.
I absolutely love that. My password is me fabulous.
Yes.
So every day when I have to log in, every time the computer changes to a different platform, I have to type in me amazing. There's other things that come before it and afterwards, so I'm not giving my password.
That's okay.
I mean, not me amazing, me fabulous. And so I did that to help uplift me in a time that I was tired. So I appreciate that. And if I might, I just wanted to thank publicly my partner, Lisa. We had an amazing conversation. It was wonderful. And she gave me this that I think benefits everybody. So I just wanted to share. She said that a student told her to try to be 1% better every day. So oftentimes we mark people's success in 100 days. And so I'm setting myself up, thanks to Lisa's good advice, to try to see where I am 100 days from now, being 1% better every day. So thank you, Lisa.
Thank you for that.
Does that take 1% more of your time to do that?
I'm gonna take that 1%.
That's right. Because you know what I was thinking is to add on to that. I'm gonna be 1% better to myself every day.
Yes. Like that. Okay, that was Lisa. Okay. Wonderful.
And Colleen,
Mm-hmm.
is it possible for us to get contact information
for these two amazing ladies right here?
Yes. Well, I have their contact information, but of others who joined, I wanted to get information of, which I didn't get a chance to do, the two women who were in my first breakout session.
Oh, you contact information of the people that's here, actually.
Yes, everyone.
Yes, that would be possible. I could send that out because when we recorded this, so we have also, I could get all the people that signed on to Zoom today. And I think it has whatever email that you signed in with, the contact information is there. So if people are okay with sharing that, I'm okay with sending it out. And who's that asking that? I can't see who's talking.
It's Juliana.
Oh, okay.
Taylor.
Okay, Juliana, yes, that's possible.
Okay. And I didn't get a chance to say hello at the beginning, but everything was excellent, Colleen.
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
Definitely.
And
Colleen, how frequent do you all have the session?
So our professional development is actually supposed to occur quarterly, so every 3 months.
Okay, so anybody who has joined in now, will we get the information the next time? And is it okay to share the information? I didn't actually get it and see it in enough time to be able to check with you to see if
You
it was
definitely
okay.
can share it. Definitely, we would love to share it. The more people know about the wonderful facilitation that we have in our professional development, it's open to everybody, not just people that's in the organization, but it's also a way for us to get people to know who we are and a way of bringing wonderful women into this wonderful organization. So definitely, I sent it out a couple of times, but I know, Pam, I know how good you are with sending it to your listserv, and Pam is a member of Pennsylvania Black Conference on Higher Education, which is another great organization, which I'm a member of as well. So yes, definitely.
I will share the information with you. I'm co-chair this year, and I will share that information, and you're welcome to share it with those that are online today.
You can put it in chat. That way people can see it, because your conference is coming up soon. Carla and Tanya, I wanted to tell you all about it because they were looking for proposals. And by the time I kind of found out about they had extended it, it was almost at the end. But definitely these kind of organizations are always looking for.
It's still open until the 13th.
Oh, there you go. Okay, there you go.
Yes, it's still open until the 13th. The conference theme is REACH. And the acronym stands for Race, Academia, Economics, COVID-19, and Health. And race is interwoven into each. How does race affect each one of those things, and how does it affect us as a leader?
And with all these other doctors and people in higher education on the call, they, and not just Tanya and Carla, let me say Dr. Tanya O'Neill and Dr. Carla Thomas, you earned that. It may be some other people on here that also would like to put in their proposal as well. So do we have, before we move the program, because this was great and I could talk to you all forever, and I don't want to stop anybody from having some input, having questions. Does anybody have any input or questions before we move the program on?
I have a question.
Go on.
This is Q. I had a question. I asked if there was a ABWHE group in Delaware, or is just located in Philadelphia.
So we don't have one right now in Delaware, unless you're going to think about starting one. But you could always join. We have. Let's see. I can't see anybody anymore.
I think Dr. Chastity's on. She could talk about virtual.
Yeah, I was trying to look to see who was here from the virtual they wanted to talk about. Chastity, do you want to say something about the virtual? Is Chastity still on? Rosalind, Dr. Rosalind Batty, you want to say anything about the virtual? I know you're a member, and who else is on here that's a virtual member?
I am. I can say something if Kimberly and Chastity and everybody else is in here.
Okay. Is this Lisa?
Yep, it is.
Lisa, I forgot. Yes, you remember. Yes.
So the virtual chapter is virtual. So we're always virtual. So we're all over the place. But that's one way that you can definitely get involved. And if you don't have a location necessarily in your area, but you may eventually decide to have one in your area to start one up. So definitely reach out to us. I'll put in an address into the chat.
Thank you, Lisa.
Got it.
And Colleen, may I add?
Yes.
So I'm the Adway National Membership Chair, and we really, really encourage you, no matter where you are, to join. And if in fact you want to start virtually, and then you find that you want to do more things in person because you don't have because the virtual is always online, you can go to any chapter whenever you're near and participate in their activities. And so Adway is fluent. We want everybody who's interested to join, no matter where you are. And this is a true, wonderful sisterhood. So if you're not sure what you're joining, put that on your membership application and we'll make sure to get you connected. That's for everybody who's looking.
So many great women, so many great collaborations that that you have all these great minds right here in one organization. So definitely, if you're thinking about it, don't think long, join us. And we have somebody coming up right after this, that's going to talk about membership. And just to say really quickly before I turn it over to her, is that we're coming up, our election process is coming up in June. So a lot of the officers that you see, including myself, will no longer be in those roles. And we are definitely looking to bring in new, fresh people to move into those roles that we are going to vacate. So definitely. So I am not going to talk anymore, but I'm going to turn it over for membership. I'm sorry, I overstepped my bounds. Quan, you're supposed to usher her in.
I don't think we can hear you, Quan. With the
Can you guys hear me?
yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Take it away, Ruji.
All right, so I think we all have had a wonderful introduction talking about membership. And so I will actually just go over a few of the logistics. And again, you can join if you want to go to them. So the logistics being the main page, where you can do that online at the National Abway website, which would be abway.org/pages/members. membership-applications, and you'll see a page that looks similar to what you have there. This QR code, if you're someone who maybe is on a laptop or computer and have a phone in front of you, you probably can also scan it, that as well. And just wanted to go over kind of again what the details of membership is. The membership year when you're joining is July 1st through June 30th. So it kind of reflects an academic year or season, going from summer to the end of a spring term. And if you're joining mid-year, I believe there still is a reduced fee for individuals at different levels, all the way up until institutional, which is already discounted, so you will not see that. If there's questions or variations on that, we'll follow up on that in email. So the specifics too, just to be mindful of for membership categories that are available. There are professional memberships available. So that would be an individual. Many of us may fall into that category. And that would be the price that you would be committing and supporting the organization with for that membership year. If you are a current student, mindful of that, these would be the membership fees for for 1 year or 2 year membership. So again, you get a discount for the committing longer if you're emeritus level scholarship. There also is a discount for this as well. And then if you would like to join as an institution, so say you want to join and maybe there are 2 or 3 other individuals, part of your organization who really would be wanting to be a part and support and be active and doing wonderful things. And you also can have an institutional membership. Certain centers at different universities and colleges will be able to support with that. If you have a question about maybe starting and locating the center to support that amount within your institution, do feel free to message us and we can kind of help you maybe locate who can provide that support if you're unaware. It may not be available at all institutions, but many do. But those are pretty much the sort of the details of joining as an official member. And then that was, I believe, the discount code, if that's still available on the website. Did any others have particular items they wanted to note about current membership, since we have national officers here as well? All right. If not, I will pass this over.
Thank you, Ruji. Now we're coming to the close of our wonderful program. And we're going to have acknowledgements in closing by Pamela Carr, Second Vice President. Thank you. Take it away, Pam.
Everyone, what can I say? Wow, wow, wow. It's been a great event, successful. We've learned so much information. I wrote down some takeaway points that really kind of captured, really touched me, and hopefully it moves some of you as well, about disclaiming the myth of the strong Black woman and looking at how we're receiving this message and how we're passing it on. I was glad for my partner as well when we broke out into our breakout rooms. And one of the strong takeaways they said was recognizing, redefining, and realizing. realizing that you're worth it. Again, would like to say thank you to Dr. Carla Thomas, Dr. Tanya O'Neill from the Realize Leadership Group for this wonderful, wonderful presentation. We'd like to thank our president chapter of Abway of the local chapter of Philadelphia, that is Colleen Wynn, for her great leadership. Also for Ruji for being the first vice president, for talking about our membership, for myself, vice president, Kwan, for being the presider on this evening, for Juliana for being our secretary and posting all things social media. Again, for everyone who participated, that was fully present, we thank you all. Please look out for more information about our professional developments and our Abway events. Again, remember, we're dispelling this myth. We're going to take care of ourselves and redefine lifting as we climb and taking care of ourselves. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you all again.